I'm here in the Dominican Day Parade. Dominicano, I'm Dominican. I'm here with Congressman Lee Zeldin. And how do you feel being with the Dominican people here?
Love it. What a great turnout. Perfect day. Everyone's excited. Great energy. Everyone loves everything about this. Sense of community, family. Amazing turnout. Can't wait. It's going to be a great day.
Raindrop. Raindrop. Drop top. Smoking up in the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, yeah. Looking up over the crock pot.
I'm Cara Castronuova, and as a Golden Gloves champion fighting out of Elmont, I've spent my life running these streets. Now with the rise in violent crime, I don't feel so safe anymore, and I find myself looking over my shoulder. I don't want to run away to Florida. I want to stay here in New York to fight for me, my family, my friends, the people I care about, for my district and community, and for you. When I go to the assembly, I'm going to fight for our safety. When I go to the assembly, I'll fight to get rid of dangerous cashless bail. Better equip emergency services and fight for community programs that will empower at-risk youth and women to fend for themselves. Vote for me, Cara Castronuova, to represent you in Albany, because there's nobody better to fight for this community. Vote for me on November 8th, because with me in our corner, we can't lose.
Y bien, señores, nuestra invitada de hoy, Cara Castronuova, que nos acompaña, candidata asambleísta por el Distrito 22 de Nueva York, es decir, Long Island. Vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés, será doblada al español. Y bueno, Henry, vamos a darle la bienvenida a nuestra invitada.
Well, welcome, Cara Castronuova, the Golden Glove champion. And she is out of Assembly District 22, and we are ready. I just came from an event with my colleague, and we were there with Lee Zeldin and the rest of the GOP crew, and it was exciting. The Latino community received them incredible, and the Latino community is going to listen. We're hearing this great person as running. Cara, how are you? Would you like to introduce yourself as this great candidate? Listen, your video was incredible. Please take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'm Cara Castronuova. I'm running for Assembly District 22, like I said in my video, which is here on Long Island. It's on the borderline of Queens, on the borderline of New York City. So we're the gateway from New York City. My area is in Elmont, Franklin Square, Valley Stream, Floral Park, if anybody knows the area. And we have a lot of issues here in New York right now. I'm not sure if you gentlemen are familiar with what's going on in New York right now, but there's one party rule, which is the Democrats. And we have to get more Republicans in there like me and like Lee Zeldin to balance out one party rule, because right now we're in a lot of trouble in New York.
Excellent. And I'm going to tell you that, like I said, me and my colleague just came from this event, and it's the second event. It's historical here in New York with the Latino community, and we were able to work to bring the Republican Party. And tell me, in your district, how do you see the momentum in the street? Because I know you do door knocking. I know you talk to the community. How's the community receiving you as a candidate? How are you receiving that? How's that?
It's been incredible. It really has. When you say momentum, I really do believe that we are going to have a red wave. And I'm not just saying that as a talking point. There's literally nobody I speak to that's excited to vote Democrat. So everybody I talk to are Democrats, because I live in a very Democratic district, that are saying they're going to vote for Republicans for the first time, or independents that are saying they're going to vote Republican, or Republicans that are saying they're more motivated than ever to get their family in front. We're going to have a red wave here. I knock on every door in my neighborhood, and there's nobody excited to vote Democrat. They're not an exciting party anymore. If anything, people are seeing through their policies and realizing that they've gone too far left here in New York. Crime is out of control in New York. People don't feel safe. Inflation is terrible, so they see just what one party rule does to a country with the Biden administration and everything going on in the country and in the state. And they're fed up with the tyrannical rule here in New York. Kathy Hochul is no better than Andrew Cuomo, if not worse. There's some really scary pieces of legislation that they're trying to pass in the Assembly and in the Senate here in New York that are very demonic and demented. I like to call these bills. One of the bills is one you mentioned off camera earlier.
The bill was A416. It was a bill allowing the governor to imprison anyone without a trial considered a threat to public health.
Is that horrible bill? We protested it. that somebody would ever think to write a bill where American citizens could be taken out of their homes and thrown into a concentration camp for having a sickness or for being suspected of having a sickness is completely nuts. And now there's two even more nuttier bills, or equally as nutty, one which is saying that children can consent to their own medical operations, like vaccinations. They can consent to gender-changing hormones, puberty blockers, antidepressants, painkillers, anything that they want. They're trying to get this passed in the legislature in New York, that minors could actually consent without their parents' permission to medical treatments. And the bill is so evil that it goes so far as to say that the doctors, the practitioners in the state will actually tamper with the child's medical record so that they can hide it from the parent, so the parent doesn't know what the child is doing. So that's one bill out there. It's called Bill A9963, and it's very, very controversial, and people are, very much against it. And this is what happens when you have Democrats that have gone too far left and who think that they could just rule with an iron fist.
Excellent. I'm going to let my host, he's on safety. I know that's one of the issues you're running on, the whole state. He'll talk to you about, he's very passionate, as am I, Ismael, safety in her area. I mean.
Well, Cara, Hochul last week, the Governor Hochul, she said that it was unrealistic, or a perception, that's the word she used, the crime that have been happening in New York State. What are your thoughts about Katie Hochul's comment?
I mean, I think she's completely out of touch. They make up their own facts. Democrats, they're now saying that it's safe here in New York State and that they've actually been fighting crime. They've completely changed their messaging from before. Before, all they were talking about was abortion and Trump, and then they realized that it was falling on deaf ears and that nobody was listening to them and that people really do care about crime. So just because Kathy Hochul wants to sit there and say that there's no crime, I think that the population is way too smart for that. So I don't think that people are listening to her commercials that she's making and her messaging, because she's completely done a flip-flop, and all of a sudden she's talking about how she's tough on crime when she's not tough on crime, and she's actually, I think, made the state even more unsafe.
You that we do wish you luck. Your district is about, and I did my research, about 20% Latino, but can you tell us other groups that they have? You don't have to know the exact percentage,
Sure.
But Filipino, I believe it is. Can you continue? Let me know other groups.
It's a very, very diverse community, very diverse. We have a lot of Italian, we have a lot of, like you said, 20% Latino, approximately Filipino. The Southeast Asian is a very big population here, Muslim community, a very beautiful community that is going to vote red, I think, for the first time this year. They are very excited to vote Republican. I've been visiting with a lot of the mosques. They're really against the far left agenda, and they're finally starting to pick up on the fact that all the left does is race bait, and they tell people, the Republican Party is Islamophobic or they're racist, and they just tell people this stuff so they could divide and conquer, so that they could distract us, and then they pass these crazy bills, and we have no idea how they got passed because we were too busy fighting with each other as races, as religions, as sexes. So this has been a Democrat ploy for a very long time, and I think that all of the ethnic communities, like the Latino communities, like the Black community, like the Muslim community, the Filipino community, are finally waking up and realizing that the Democrat Party is not their friend and has been playing them and using them for a long time, and that they're going to vote red and vote Republican this year because everybody cares about crime. Everybody is affected by inflation, and everybody wants to have their basic parental rights and their basic medical freedom. So for the first time in a very long time, I think this state is going to flip red and flip Republican in a way that you've never seen before.
Thank you. I know, and I can tell you right now that us working, and I've been working, and my colleague here, with the Lee Zeldin, Team Zeldin, and all the other Republicans, I haven't seen a momentum like this since the Giuliani days and Pataki days. And I got to tell you that I think I agree with you that this is going to be a red wave. And if New York goes red, my colleague could tell you now what's going to happen. We're going to be talking later on after we finish with you. We're going to give an analysis on Tuesday's election. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a New Yorker, like with the accent. I'm a New Yorker, and I've been here my whole life, and I was born and bred here. I've never seen a momentum, not even in the Reagan days. How do you feel? Are you feeling this momentum, and it's going to be sweeping over even Long Island?
I'm in Long Island and I feel the momentum, and I know upstate New York is even more red than we are. Here in Long Island, we're purple. People are more open-minded than ever. I've been talking to a lot of the minority populations that were traditionally Democrat, and they seem excited, if not anything, to vote red, and they feel welcome and they feel like they're part of the movement. So that's really the feeling that I'm getting, and I'm talking to a lot of people, and people are really excited to vote Republican this year. Like I said, there's not a lawn that doesn't have a Lee Zeldin sign on it, at least not where I'm from.
I'm Cara Castronuova, and as a Golden Gloves champion fighting out of Elmont, I've spent my life running these streets. Now with the rise in violent crime, I don't feel so safe anymore, and I find myself looking over my shoulder. I don't want to run away to Florida. I want to stay here in New York to fight for me, my family, my friends, the people I care about, for my district and community, and for you. When I go to the assembly, I'm going to fight for our safety. When I go to the assembly, I'll fight to get rid of dangerous cashless bail. Better equip emergency services and fight for community programs that will empower at-risk youth and women to fend for themselves. Vote for me, Cara Castronuova, to represent you in Albany, because there's nobody better to fight for this community. Vote for me on November 8th, because with me in our corner, we can't lose.
Raindrop, raindrop, top, smoking up in the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up over the crock pot. Raindrop, raindrop, top, smoking up in the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up over the crock pot.